All right, strap in, everyone, because we are going deep today.
Buckle up is right.
That's right, we're diving deep into some seriously mind-bending ideas.
I love it.
We're talking Science of Being by Eugene Fersen, this fascinating book from 1923.
Oh, yeah, classic.
And the raw material, those channeled communications from the 1980s.
That's a fascinating combination.
It's like a wild mix of science and spirituality.
Right.
We're going to unpack it all.
That's the plan.
What we think is really cool is how both of these sources, despite being from totally different time periods, both tackle these huge questions about the universe, existence, consciousness.
Big ones.
But they do it with this blend of mystical insights
Yes.
and this real desire for scientific grounding.
Exactly. It's like they're trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah, for sure. So let's jump right in with Fersen.
Okay.
He drops this big concept right away. The absolute the
Right.
source of everything. He calls it the great principle, like the ultimate unmanifest reality.
Right.
And get this, from this absolute comes the universe.
Whoa.
But he calls it the sun.
Interesting.
And then there's this loving life force he calls, wait for it, the Holy Ghost.
It's like a cosmic trinity.
Right. What do you make of that?
Well, it's ambitious, to say the least. It's like he's trying to connect that ultimate unknowable source with something that we can at least begin to grasp. He seems to be saying that we can see glimpses of the absolute through its creations, the universe, the life force that keeps it going.
I'm following you.
And hold on, this is where it gets wilder.
Okay.
He says, we humans are like individualized projections of the absolute,
What?
carrying its qualities and powers within us.
So like mini universes walking around.
Kind of. With a spark of the divine inside.
That is wild. But he also talks about our duty
Yes.
to discover this absolute within ourselves.
He does, and that's a bit more intense.
Right. What does that even mean?
He's pushing us to not just passively believe in this connection, but to actively seek it out, to realize it within our own being.
I can dig that.
He even defines man, and I know the language is a bit dated.
Yeah.
He says man is the individualized projection of the great principle into its own eternal substance.
Whoa.
Heavy stuff, right?
It really makes you stop and think about our place in all of this.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't stop there. He gets into consciousness, too.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not simple.
No.
He describes it as a prison
Okay.
that splits spiritual vibrations into life, mind, and soul vibrations.
Interesting.
Kind of reminds me of the whole mind-body-spirit thing that's so popular these days.
Definitely. He's suggesting that consciousness isn't just one thing. It's this whole spectrum of vibrations.
Right.
Interacting with what he calls universal life energy.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me.
I know, right?
He actually says we can tap into this energy.
We can.
Yeah, to heal ourselves, to manifest our desires.
Hold on. How do we do that?
I don't know. Is he talking about some secret technique?
Well, he does describe methods,
Really?
including one for something called magnetic sleep.
Magnetic sleep. That sounds intense and maybe a little scary.
I know, right? It definitely makes me a little nervous.
Okay, you've got to ask, how does this universal life energy actually work?
Right.
Is there science to back this up?
That's the thing with some of these older texts.
Yeah.
They were written before we had all the fancy scientific tools we have now. But that doesn't mean the ideas are wrong.
True.
It's more about being open to exploring the concepts, seeing what resonates.
Okay, that makes sense.
And maybe even being inspired to investigate further with modern methods.
I like that approach.
Speaking of resonating, Fersen also brings up the law of attraction.
Oh, interesting.
But not quite in the way it's often talked about today.
Really? How so?
He describes it as this fundamental quality of primal energy that binds everything in the universe together.
So it's like the glue that holds it all together.
Exactly. And he connects it to how our bodies form. He says cells attract each other according to this law to create complex structures like organs and tissues.
So our bodies are like a manifestation of this law of attraction.
In a way, yes.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
And here's the kicker. He says love is the emotional expression of this law of attraction.
So our very existence is a manifestation of love on a cosmic scale.
That's what he's suggesting.
Wow, I'm starting to see how these ideas connect.
Me too.
But what about after this life?
Ah, yes, the big question.
Fersen's pretty clear that the soul is eternal, right?
Absolutely. He's very firm on that point. The soul cannot be destroyed.
Okay, good to know. But he also mentions this second death.
He does, and that can be confusing.
Right, what is that exactly?
Well, he clarifies that it's not annihilation.
Okay.
It's more like a loss of the soul's essence.
So not like the soul is gone.
No.
But more like it's lost its way somehow.
Yeah, like a disconnection from its divine core.
So like losing your internal compass, your guiding light.
Exactly. What do you think that means to truly lose your soul?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a deep question.
I think it'd be like living completely out of sync with your true purpose,
Mm-hmm.
driven by fear and ego instead of love and connection.
That's a powerful way to put it.
And it makes you think about how to avoid that fate.
For sure. And Fersen seems to believe understanding these universal laws
Okay,
is key to staying on track.
I can see that.
He even delves into the human aura.
Ooh, Oris. Everyone loves Oris.
Right. He says it's composed of 3 layers,
Okay.
and the outermost one expresses our personal color.
So, like, we're all radiating our own unique vibe.
Exactly. A vibrational signature, if you will.
I love that. But I'm curious how this all connects back to the absolute.
Right. That's where things get even more interesting.
I'm ready. Tell me more.
Well, this is where his laws of the absolute and relative come in.
Oh, right.
He lays out 3 eternal laws of the absolute.
And what are those?
One of them, and this is a big one, is everything is vibration.
Everything is vibration. So he's saying literally everything in the universe
From the tiniest particle to the largest galaxy.
is basically just vibrating energy.
That's the core of his argument.
Wow. Okay, I need a minute to process that.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is. But he also talks about the law of polarity.
He does, which is a key concept for understanding how things work.
What's that one about?
It states that everything has its opposite.
Like light and dark, up and down.
Exactly. Positive and negative, good and bad.
Okay, I see where this is going.
It's about recognizing that interplay of forces.
In our lives and in the universe as a whole.
Right. So it's not about eradicating the negative,
Uh-huh.
but seeing how it fits into the bigger picture.
Okay, so how do we navigate this world of duality?
That's the question, isn't it?
It's easy to get caught up in that good versus bad mentality.
Absolutely.
But Fersen seems to be saying there's a deeper truth beyond that.
He is. He's challenging us to see beyond the surface.
And find the underlying unity.
Exactly. To recognize the connection between those seeming opposites.
That's a powerful idea.
He also brings up the law of rhythm.
Rhythm.
Yes. The cyclical nature of things.
Oh, like ups and downs.
Exactly. He's saying everything ebbs and flows.
So how do we make any progress if it's all just up and down, up and down?
That's where the law of evolution comes in.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's the counterbalancing force.
To the rhythm.
Yes. It's what drives us towards greater harmony.
Even amidst all the ups and downs.
Right. So the key is to ride those waves of rhythm,
Yeah,
but stay focused on those evolutionary goals.
that makes sense. But what are those goals? That's a big question.
It is. What do you think?
I think it's about constantly striving to become the best versions of ourselves,
I like that.
to align with that spark of the divine that Fersen says we all have within us.
Beautiful. And he doesn't stop there. He goes on to explore the law of gender.
Ooh, gender. That's a hot topic these days.
For sure. And he's not just talking about biological sex.
Okay.
It's about the interplay of masculine and feminine principles.
So like finding that balance within ourselves.
Exactly. And in our relationships with others.
That seems super relevant today.
Absolutely. As we rethink those traditional gender roles and explore new ways of relating to each other.
Take up a balance, right?
That's a key theme for sure. And Fersen highlights the importance of working towards completion.
Completion.
Yes, through love and understanding.
So it's about recognizing that wholeness within each of us.
And striving to reflect that in our interactions with others.
I love that idea. But what about the power of our thoughts?
Ah, another fascinating aspect.
Fersen gets into that too, right?
He does. He talks about how thoughts infused with life energy
Okay.
can actually influence others
Whoa.
and even manifest our desires.
It's like he's foreshadowing the law of attraction as we know it today.
Right, and this is where modern psychology adds another layer.
Oh, how so?
The role of the subconscious mind.
So our thoughts can really shape our reality,
That's what he's suggesting.
even if we're not fully aware of it?
Exactly. That's both empowering and maybe a little scary.
For sure. But Fersen has a solution.
Oh, what's that?
He calls it scientific denial.
Interesting. What does that involve?
Consciously rejecting negative thoughts and fears
Okay.
and replacing them with positive affirmations.
So it's about actively choosing the thoughts we want to focus on?
Exactly. I've dabbled in affirmations before.
Me too.
But I never thought of it as scientific.
Right. It's interesting to think about how our thoughts might be influencing our reality.
On a much deeper level than we realize.
Absolutely. It's all about taking responsibility for the energy we're putting out into the world.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Fersen believed that by aligning our thoughts with these universal laws, we could create a more harmonious and fulfilling experience.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack here.
I know, right? It's a lot to take in.
It really is. But I'm starting to see the connections between these concepts.
Me too.
And how they might apply to our lives.
It makes you rethink the way you see things.
It really does. I'm already feeling my perspective shifting.
That's the power of these deep
They
dives.
challenge our assumptions.
And open up new possibilities.
All right, so we've explored Fersen's science of being.
A journey in itself.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
To say the least.
Now I'm ready to dive into the raw material.
Let's do it.
Which takes a different approach to similar themes.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about these channeled communications?
Okay.
And this mysterious entity called Ra?
Buckle up. This is where things get really interesting.
I can't wait.
So the raw material, these channeled messages, right from 1981 to 83,
Yeah.
they introduce us to, well, Ra,
Ra.
who claims to be part of a social memory complex.
Okay, a social memory complex.
A whole other layer of intrigue, wouldn't you say?
Definitely intriguing. So what is this law of one exactly?
Right. Think of it as like a fundamental principle,
Okay.
like this underlying current running through everything.
I'm listening.
Ra defines it as the principle of unity and love.
Unity and love.
Very foundation of all creation.
So everything connected, everything one.
Exactly. Does that sound familiar from what we talked about with Fersen?
It totally does. It's like Fersen's absolute, that interconnectedness.
Right, but Ra takes it even further.
Okay, how so?
They give this much more detailed picture of how the universe is structured.
Interesting.
And how consciousness actually evolves.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
They introduce this concept of the Logos.
The Logos, what's that?
It's this cosmic entity that individualizes galaxies.
Whoa, individualizes galaxies.
And creates these energy patterns, for conscious awareness to emerge.
So the Logos is like the grand architect of the universe.
That's a great way to put it. Designing galaxies,
Yeah.
setting the stage for life to arrive.
Mind-blowing.
And get this, they talk about a hierarchy.
A hierarchy.
Where there are sublogoi.
Sublogoi.
Like our sun.
Our sun is a sublogos.
According to Ra, yes.
Wow.
And even our individual minds
What?
can be seen as sub-sublogol.
Hold on, our minds are like mini versions of the Logos.
In a way, yes.
That is a lot to process. It's like we have this incredible untapped potential within us.
Exactly. It speaks to the creative power we all possess.
Wow, okay.
Now, Ra also presents this really fascinating idea.
Okay. Densities?
Densities, what are those?
Picture a ladder.
Okay.
Each rung represents a level of consciousness.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
The first density is the most basic.
Like basic how?
Think minerals and plants.
Okay.
Just starting to become aware.
Right.
Then you climb to second density.
Okay.
Creatures develop instincts, basic emotions.
So like animals.
Exactly. And we humans, we're currently in third density.
Third density.
The density of self-awareness, making choices.
Okay, so what's next? Is there a fourth rung on this ladder?
According to Ra, yes. We're transitioning to fourth density.
Fourth density, tell me more.
It's a realm of greater love and understanding.
So we're evolving.
It's not about physically going somewhere else.
Right. It's about our consciousness evolving to a higher frequency.
So we're all in cosmic school, moving up through the grades.
I love that analogy, learning and growing with each density.
But how does that transition actually happen?
Well, this is where things get really wild.
Okay, hit me.
They talk about wanderers.
Wanderers, who are they?
Beings from higher densities who choose to incarnate on Earth.
What? So they're like from other dimensions?
To help with Earth's evolution?
That's straight out of science fiction.
I know, right? But if we accept the idea of densities, it's not that far-fetched.
Okay, I can see that.
But why would these wanderers come here?
That's what I'm wondering. What's their purpose?
I suggest they often feel out of place.
Like they don't belong here.
Exactly. Like they're yearning for something more.
Have you ever felt that way?
I think everyone has moments of feeling like they don't quite fit in.
That's true.
Could that be a sign of a wanderer's soul? It's something to ponder.
It really is. So there could be people walking around right now who are actually from other dimensions.
That's a mind-boggling thought, isn't it?
It really is. Okay, so Ra also mentions this veil of forgetting.
Why the veil?
Separating our conscious minds from past experiences, higher knowledge.
It's like a cosmic amnesia.
Why would we choose to forget? Wouldn't life be easier with all that knowledge?
Maybe, but it would also take away the challenge.
The challenge.
The growth that comes with rediscovering who we are.
Okay, so it's like a game with amnesia.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out who we are and why we're here.
With a few cosmic clues along the way.
It's a pretty high-stakes game.
It is, and as we journey through our incarnations, we gradually lift that veil, reclaim our true selves.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Now, both Fersen and Ra talk about service.
Service, okay.
It's a big theme in both of their teachings.
So what's the deal with service? Is it just about volunteering or something?
It's much broader than that.
Okay, how so?
Ra outlines two paths of spiritual evolution.
Two paths. What are they?
Service to others, considered the positive path.
Okay.
And service to self, often seen as the negative path.
Wait, serving yourself could be a spiritual path.
It can. Remember, Ra emphasizes both are valid.
Really?
And they ultimately lead back to unity.
So it's not about judging one as better or worse.
Right.
but understanding the motivation behind our actions.
Exactly. And Fersen's law of polarity comes into play here.
Okay, how so?
It's not about eradicating the negative, right? But seeing how it fits into the grand scheme of things.
Okay, so both polarities contribute to the whole.
Like yin and yang, you can't have one without the other.
Right, that makes sense.
So it's not about right or wrong.
But about the intention behind our choices.
Exactly. How we choose to serve, who we choose to serve.
But how do we know which path we're on?
That's where introspection comes in.
Introspection.
Honest self-reflection.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, what are my deepest motivations?
Okay.
What brings me joy? What drains my energy?
Those are good questions.
Your answers can give you clues.
About whether we're more inclined towards service to others or service to self.
Right. It's about understanding your natural tendencies.
Okay, that's helpful.
Now, Ra also talks about this harvest.
A harvest? What's that?
It's a process where souls who have reached a certain level of evolution move to a higher density.
So like a cosmic graduation ceremony.
It's more like a natural progression.
I see.
As we evolve, as we align with either service to others or service to self, we vibrate at a higher frequency and naturally gravitate toward the density that matches.
So it's like finding your soul tribe.
Exactly. And this harvest, it's happening now.
Wait, now, is that why the world seems so crazy right now?
Ra suggests we're in a transition period.
Transition.
A time of massive change as we move towards fourth density.
So it's a time of upheaving but also awakening.
Both individually and collectively.
So our choices matter now more than ever.
Exactly. Our thoughts, our words, our actions all contribute to the collective vibration of the planet.
It's a lot of pressure.
It is. But it's also incredibly empowering.
To know that we have that much influence?
Exactly. We have the power to shape the direction of this transition.
Okay, so what will life in fourth density actually be like?
Well, Ra describes it as a realm of, well, greater love, understanding, compassion.
So like the world we all dream of.
The veil of forgetting is lifted.
Oh, wow.
We become more aware of our interconnectedness.
It sounds pretty utopian. Are we talking about some distant future, or is this a real possibility?
Ra suggests it's a potential reality within our reach.
Really? That's amazing.
It makes you want to do your part to raise the collective vibration, right?
It totally does. But speaking of raising vibrations, Ra also mentions the pyramids.
The pyramids? What about them?
They claim to have been involved in their construction.
Whoa, really?
Using advanced technology.
What kind of technology?
To manipulate energy, create healing chambers.
Remember Fersen hinted at pyramid power, too?
That's right. It's like the two sources are starting to converge.
It's pretty wild.
Are they suggesting the pyramids were like ancient energy machines?
Designed to amplify consciousness, facilitate healing.
It's a mind-blowing possibility. Both sources talk about vibration, energy.
Right.
Maybe the pyramids were a way to tap into those forces.
Fascinating. We're really getting into some deep territory here.
Okay, so if the pyramids were used to manipulate energy back then, how do we tap into those energies today?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
Both Fersen and Ra suggest practices like meditation, visualization, tuning our inner instruments, you know?
Yeah.
To resonate with the frequencies of love, healing, unity.
So it's like we need to do some serious inner work.
It's about becoming conscious of our own energy.
And learning to direct it.
Exactly. Both sources emphasize the power of thought.
Right. Fersen talks about scientific denial.
And Ra stresses on lining our thoughts with the law of one.
Yeah, but if our thoughts can shape reality, does that mean we're responsible for all the bad stuff happening in the world?
It's a tough one.
It is. It's a big responsibility.
It's important to remember we have free will.
Okay.
We can choose love or fear, unity or separation.
Right, but those choices have consequences.
For ourselves and for the collective.
So we're all co-creating this reality.
Exactly. Adding our own unique vibrations to the mix.
Like we're all chefs contributing to this cosmic soup.
Love that. Our thoughts and actions add flavor to the broth.
So the more of us choose love and unity,
the tastier that soup becomes.
Okay, I can get behind that. But before we get too carried away with saving the world, I want to go back to something Ra mentioned.
Okay, what's that?
The Orion Group.
Ah, yes, the Orion Group.
Who are they, and what's their deal with Earth?
Well, according to Ra, the Orion Group is this collection of negatively oriented beings from the Orion constellation.
From Orion.
They operate from a service-to-self perspective.
So like the opposite of what we've been talking about.
They seek power and control over others.
So like the galactic bullies trying to steal everyone's lunch money.
Haha, kind of. But why Earth?
That's what I'm wondering. What makes us so special?
Ra suggests it's because of our potential for spiritual growth.
Really?
They see our free will, our capacity for love, as a threat to their agenda.
So they're like cosmic vampires, feeding off our negative energy.
It's a form of power for them.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture.
They thrive on negativity,
Yeah.
They use it to fuel their control and manipulation.
So it's a battle between light and darkness.
Playing out on a universal scale.
And we get to choose sides with every thought, every action.
It highlights the importance of being aware of these influences.
Yeah.
Making conscious choices.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we resist these negative forces?
It's about recognizing the tactics of fear and manipulation.
Okay.
And choosing love and unity instead.
Like a cosmic tug of war.
And we have to decide which side we want to pull for.
It's both daunting and exhilarating at the same time.
It is, and it all comes back to what Fersen emphasized.
What's that?
Self-mastery, aligning with those universal laws.
So the more inner strength and clarity we cultivate,
the less susceptible we are to those negative influences.
This is giving me a whole new perspective on the challenges we face.
Me too.
Not just as individuals, but as a society.
It's not just about politics or economics.
It's about a deeper spiritual struggle.
And that's why these sources are so relevant today.
They offer a framework for understanding all of this complexity.
The complexities of consciousness, the forces shaping our world.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have, from the absolute to the law of one.
Pyramid power to the Orion group.
It's been quite a journey.
It really have. But I think it's time to connect the dots.
Connect the dots.
Between science of being and the raw material.
I'm ready. What stands out to you as the most compelling connection?
I think for me, it's that focus on vibration.
Yeah.
And the interconnectedness of everything.
Yeah.
They both present this idea that the universe is like this giant symphony of vibration.
Beautiful image.
And our thoughts, emotions, actions.
Yeah.
They're all contributing to this cosmic orchestra.
It's a powerful way to think about it.
And they both talk about consciousness shaping reality.
Absolutely. Fersen with the law of attraction.
Yeah.
Manifesting desires through focused thought.
Right.
Ra emphasize aligning with the law of one.
And it's like they're saying we can be conscious co-creators.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty radical idea.
It is. When you really stop and think about it.
It's like we're all tuning forks, constantly interacting,
yeah.
influencing each other with our vibes.
And if we can raise our own vibration
through meditation, love, service,
maybe we can create a more harmonious reality.
It's a beautiful thought.
It is, and they both give us tools for doing just that.
Right. It's not just theory.
No, it's about applying these concepts to our lives.
Fersen's scientific denial.
Yeah.
Choosing positive thoughts. Ra's teachings on love, compassion, forgiveness.
It's all about shifting our internal state to create external change.
Like this giant feedback loop.
Exactly. What we put out into the world
comes back to us.
Amplified by the collective consciousness.
It's mind-blowing.
It is, and it's a reminder that we're not alone.
No.
We have the support of, our higher selves.
Yeah.
The web of life.
The infinite love of the universe.
All connected.
So what does this all mean for us?
Right here, right now.
What's the key takeaway?
I think the most important message is the power of choice.
Choice.
We have the free will to choose love or fear.
Unity or separation.
Every thought, every word, every action.
Creates ripples.
In this vast ocean of consciousness.
Like we're all casting votes.
With our choices.
Shaping the direction of reality.
And the more of us choose love,
the
closer we get to a brighter future.
It's not about waiting for someone else to fix things.
No, it starts with us.
Recognizing our own power to create change.
Even small acts of kindness, compassion, forgiveness.
They make a difference.
Absolutely. They all add up.
Imagine if everyone committed to one small, loving choice every day.
It would be a revolution.
A revolution of the heart. I love it.
Me too. And it begins within each of us.
Taking responsibility for our energy.
Choosing to be a force for good.
Well said. I think that's a perfect place to wrap things up. From the absolute to the law of one.
Pyramids, the Orion group.
We've been on quite a journey.
An exploration of consciousness, energy, and the power of choice.
If everything truly is vibration,
like Fersen and Ra suggest,
then the possibilities are endless.
For creating a more harmonious, loving world.
So go out there and vibrate high, everyone.
Keep seeking.
Keep questioning.
Keep diving deep.
And until next time, keep exploring the mysteries of the universe.